Okay,
Where does it start?
I'd like to call the Leominster Planning Board, December 16th, 2024,
Sorry.
to order. I have a scheduled public hearing. Open public meeting for site plan application for 508 Main Street, map 232, parcel line, commercial office building.
But Chair, we have Attorney Questle on the line, and she's requested if she can be moved,
Okay,
if it's,
well, I'm
Okay,
gonna
we
have
moved
to
up.
open up the other one. Continued open public hearing, special permit, floodplain application at 508 Main Street, map 232, parcel line, commercial. I have a request from city solicitor to move down to 6.2, is that correct?
I make a motion to, we have to open up
It's called
the,
an order.
we have to
Yeah, we
call
have to
order.
We have to
regular
open the
meeting.
regular meeting.
so I make a motion to open the regular meeting.
Okay.
Motion made and seconded to open a regular meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Call to order.
Patrick Perla.
Here.
Paul Weiser.
Here.
Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso.
Here,
Tom Kergnen.
Here.
Jason Parre.
Here.
Dean Valier.
Here.
John Souza.
Yeah. Okay, a motion to go to 6.2.
so moved.
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded to go to 6.2. Summer Estates, the Fenway subdivision map 423-3 parcels 11-33. Applicant submitted a request to the planning board on 11/5/25 to request an extension from the expiration deadline. They also required a waiver for the following: section pertaining to the requirement of all on completion deadlines, and 2, section pertaining to the requirement for butters mailings. Previously on the otherwise rescind the subdivision. No, previously I jumped at the gun. Previously on the agenda, planning board to vote on whether or not to grant an extension or to rescind the subdivision. Okay. That's the discussion that we have tonight. Do you have a representative here?
Yes, Jim Exaris and John Dabrowski.
Okay? Yep.
Attorney Questle, we're having, Mr. Exaris and his attorney present.
Great, thank you.
Okay, please identify yourself, gentlemen.
James Exaris.
John Dombrowski on behalf of James Exaris.
Okay? Make your pitch.
Well, I think last time we were here, we had submitted a bunch of information that I don't believe the city solicitor was aware of. And she and I were supposed to meet. We did schedule a meeting, but then, or not meet, have a phone conference. We scheduled one that didn't occur. I forget why. She then subsequently submitted a letter to the board, an affidavit that my client had signed, which related to Crown Point. So I submitted a letter by the lawyer who had authored the affidavit, Greg Wheeler, just explaining that that was for Crown Point, not Some of the States. Some of the States, if you recall, is a 23-lot subdivision where Mr. Exaris has already installed the bulk of the infrastructure. It's already been installed, it has been for a while. So we just think there's a fine line between the two, and that really is it. You know, if you have any questions, we're here to answer them.
Okay,
And I think Mr. Exares could shed some light. I think there were some meetings with this board in 2019 and then earlier this year.
So back in 2019, you had a public hearing that I attended and the board was here. And you were reviewing whether to rescind the subdivision, modify it, or amend it. We went up to the site, we walked the site, we had a big site walk, and the board voted to modify the subdivision by modifying the drainage, which we agreed to do. So in 2019, you modified the subdivision. Subsequent to that, we submitted the plans from Whitman and Bingham. And then a couple months ago, we voted to create a minor modification, and that minor modification was approved. And now somehow we're here 2 months later and we're talking about rescinding what we just went through and did. So I don't really even understand how we got here, but we're here, so let's address it.
Do we have Attorney Questle here?
Sure. Would you like me to
yeah, I
start?
appreciate that.
Sure. So I think it's important, again, Amy Questle, City Solicitor. I think it's important to remember that when you have a subdivision, there's two distinct parts of the subdivision. The subdivision approval approves the infrastructure. So it approves drainage, it approves roadways, it approves sidewalks, access points, things like that. And then the second aspect of a subdivision decision is that it starts the 8-year freeze on zoning. And so Mr. Azaris can, the subdivision could have been modified, the subdivision can actually, it could have been extended, that could have happened and that's fine, but that's only the infrastructure. The actual 8-year tolling is what I went through. I did, in the interim, I did meet with DPW. I met with Elizabeth, and we got some information from NEPA. But even if we take Crown Point and put that aside, when it comes to the zoning freeze, Summit Estates was actually approved in 2002. It actually was approved 2 years before Crown Point. And so, there's the 8 years that there was an 8-year zoning freeze. After that, there was litigation where Mr. Azar sued the planning board over a different yet kind of connected development. And so that, I added those 4 years onto the freeze because the statute does specifically state that if there is litigation with a state aid, with the municipal body, then that holds it. And so I added that. I also added the COVID tolling. And again, we still only get to 2021. And that is with all of the provisions that I can possibly find. So the 8-year freeze has expired. So the developer at this point has the option of going forward with the infrastructure that has been approved, but modifying the lots to meet today's dimensional requirements. Or modify, if it makes more sense to modify the entire subdivision. But that's essentially where we are. It's my opinion that the 8 years it's expired.
And I think with that information and the information that we had, there was discussion back several years ago when we accepted modification. If I remember correctly, it was, well, it really didn't make any difference on the timing, and we weren't sure about the timing at that juncture. And it was only a minor thing anyway, so we did it, and we may have been inaccurate in what we did. I don't know. But in talking to listening to the city solicitor this evening, I think we have a problem is that we want a subdivision, we want housing in the city, okay, but at the same time, I'm almost to the point where I feel I don't have any choice because of the state regulations that say it's run out, okay, over 20 years, even with the extensions we have, is that what we can do is that we don't have an option to extend it any further because the state doesn't give us an option to extend it further. So there's nothing that I could find in the state that said that the planning board could override that at that time. I don't know. And so that's where I stand. We're in a real conundrum. Yeah, we want to see things built, but at the same time, even if I get it built and we said, we'll go through, it's okay, you get forward, and you go to the building inspector, the time has run out, and the lot sizes are not the right size. They're only 20,000 versus the half acre that we require today, the extra. So it may be another even, that whole bridge has got to be reached also, because he has said before, and then he withdrew it, but then I've been told it's really on the plate, is that you can't. It would have to go back because of the city council, and they're the ones that created the new lot sizes, and the time just ran out, and the waiver in between. So that's where I stand. I think we have to listen to the city solicitor. But you've got your feelings, and I know it's a difficult situation over there to get it done and get it done economically.
So we receive 23 tax bills every year that we pay every year. This is a 2024, you bill me for 23 tax bills. You bill me for all the roads. You bill me for the entire subdivision. You've modified the entire subdivision. I'm gonna challenge the zoning issue, but this is not the board that deals with zoning, right? That's the building inspector. This board deals with the plan that I've built, all the infrastructure's in. This is the water sewer clearance plans I paid for DPW for 23 lots. You have 23 sewers, 23 waters, the drainage is in, the roadway was in, all the infrastructure's in. You bill me 23 lots of tax bills, and you bill me for each road that I've been paying every quarter, like I'm supposed to, never a day late. You asked me to pay for a $300,000 upgrade to a pump station off property, which I paid for to support this project. For you to revisit this now, I think is inappropriate. I'll fight the zoning, I'm gonna fight the zoning, but this is not the time and place for it. The issue is, there's a sewer line that's been delayed, that I have information and paperwork on that will show that the planning board was involved in relocating that sewer line. I have an inter-office memo from Kate Gifford Books, where she says to the planning board, Jimmy Xaris contacted us and says if we reroute that sewer line, it's gonna be a problem, and she says, it's my opinion, that's between the two developers, let them work it out. And then you modify the sewer line, and you hold up my project for 10 years, and now you're trying to punish me for it, and that's not fair. So that fight is a different fight, right? The problem is, you cannot run the water line to that project has sewer. There's an active sewer line on that property right now. If you open the manhole, there's flow in the sewer. What it doesn't have is water. And the deepest infrastructure is sewer, that has to go first. There's a sewer line that comes up the proposed road from Central Street that another developer has committed to in court and is being held in contempt of court because he hasn't installed it. You can't put the water line in until the sewer line's in. It's in solid ledge. The water line is 4.5 feet deep. The sewer line is 11 feet deep. Can you imagine what would happen to a 4.5 foot deep water line if you blasted the ledge to put the sewer in through the rock after the water line was already in? The sequencing can't happen that way.
No, I realize that.
The sewer has to go first. So we're held up by this particular situation. And we've told you about this, and it's in litigation, we've gone to Superior Court, we have contempt order, we've given you a copy of the judgments, we've given you all of this. We can litigate that with whomever we need to litigate with
Yeah.
it down the road. If the subdivision's in, it's complete, and we're working up there. Now, let's say for the sake of argument, we lose the zoning issue. So instead of having 23 lots, we end up with 21. We have to tweak the property lines. What's the harm? Where's the problem?
Well,
You
that's
finish the
what-
subdivision, you get the water sewer running, you create the subdivision, and then the zoning, if the zoning is improper, you tweak the lot lines. It happens all the time, it's not uncommon.
Well, why don't you tweak your lot lines now, and then we'd have no.
Because we want to preserve our argument, because we believe we have an argument, we've told you that. We're just preserving our right to argue that the delay from the sewer has stopped the deadline. That's all we're doing. There's nothing nefarious, that's all we're doing. We've put it in writing, we've given you copies of 2 legal opinions, and we've given you, we haven't hid anything from you. We've been upfront and honest with you.
I have to refer to my legal,
I would say this, that I've never heard of a distinction between an approval going 2 ways, one towards the infrastructure and one towards the lot lines. That doesn't make any sense to me. You put your infrastructure in and you stub it according to the lot lines. So I just, that doesn't make any sense to me.
but we also have,
Let me finish, please.
yeah,
Secondly, I submitted a letter dated October 7th, 2024, and asked the board to review the letter. But more importantly, the case law, which says the 8-year zoning freeze may be told if litigation, appeals, or actions by municipal officials make the legality of the construction of the plans questionable so as to impede work on or completion of the project. We've been held up for years by the water line, for years. And in my opinion, there's no question that it's been told. I'd say it's been told till today, because we're still held up by that, let alone, getting us to 2018 or whatever. And my memory, and you can pull the tape, is that the city solicitor indicated you'd have a hard time rescinding anything once you started work at the last hearing. And now we're hearing this distinction, which I've only been doing this for 30 years, but I've never heard of. So, that's,
I can't ask the city solicitor, she's listening in.
Attorney Questle?
Sure, so first of all, the statute and the case law is specific that it's the litigation with regard to a municipality. And that litigation lasted exactly 4 years. What's going on now? There's no litigation right now. So what's going on now has nothing to do with the town. The town is not a party, and therefore that litigation unfortunately does not count for tolling. I've only been doing this for 24 years, but it's my, it's always been my understanding that, yes, subdivision, when you approve a subdivision, you approve the infrastructure. And yes, at the time that you bring in a subdivision, you show the lots that are going to have the zoning freeze for 8 years. Now, that will change. If it's not constructed in time, that will have to change to meet the current zoning. And again, like I said earlier, that doesn't mean you have to change your infrastructure. I think that the developer actually said he would just have to shift lot lines. And that's, I think, probably the case here. But we went through this. We reviewed everything that Attorney Dombrowski graciously turned over, a lot of documents, which I appreciate. I went through them. We did significant research on this, and there has to be litigation, and there is no litigation with the city. There's no litigation with the municipality, and therefore that tolling period was only for 4 years, and I did add that to the 8 years.
just 2 points on that. There was litigation. The city was a party.
Yes, that's what I added, the 4 years.
There was a judgment entered, And then there's been contempts on the judgment that continue to the present day. The case law also talks about actions by municipal officials. And in this case, the only when the third-party developer's project was approved, initially he was supposed to run the sewer down, the water down Central Street. Or the water and the sewer down Central Street. And I always thought it was a dirty deal. But after the 20-day appeal period expired, they reached some kind of decision with DPW where he was allowed to run it cross-country. So a lot of the abutters on Central Street, many of whom were in need of sewer, because their Title Vs, or Title V or Title 10? Title Vs were failing. So they didn't object to this project, an industrial park going across the street from their homes. They didn't object to it because they thought they were gonna be getting the sewer. And they didn't get it. One of the people was Mr. Xeris. He had different reasons for wanting it. But the actions by the city officials in moving the sewer line cross-country also caused this problem. Either way, we haven't done anything. We've done nothing wrong. We've actually been delayed probably in maybe the greatest economy since Caesar of being able to take advantage of that. So, I just respectfully disagree with the solicitor.
And we're not saying we're not going to move the lot lines. We're not saying that that's never going to happen. We're saying that the potential is there that that could be the solution. But we want to preserve our argument, and we don't think there's any reason to have that argument today. We want to finish the subdivision, and then the zoning is the zoning. If the building inspector says this is, and title would catch you anyway, right? There could be a problem with title.
Well, when it happened, you'd have to come back at that point with a new subdivision anyway. You're changing your lot line.
No, you would.
Yeah, you'd
No,
modify.
you would not. You would do an A&R plan for each of the lots. You would not need to come back for subdivision. That is not true. If the roadway is in and all the infrastructure is in, you would come with an A&R plan, and you'd create an A&R lot. You would not come back to
No,
subdivision.
the
That's
road
not
hasn't
true.
been accepted, the road is not there.
But the-
It's all part of a subdivision.
So the road.
Until you get it on its own, because you have a covenant on all those lots.
You do. So what would happen, John, is you would do the roadway, complete the roadway to satisfaction. You'd post the bond, you'd complete it. And then if the lots were gonna be modified, you'd come back with A&R plans for the lots that are modified. Because the road would be completed and subdivision would be done. You wouldn't come back to planning board. You wouldn't come back as a planning board for a subdivision. You'd come back as an A&R lot modification. That's how I would think you would handle it. That would be the best way to handle it.
Okay, I'd have to check on that.
But you know, that would be the easiest way to handle it, right? Joe Smith wants to buy lot 7, it's not quite big enough, he's gotta combine 7 in a part of 8 and 8 in a part of 9 to make 2 lots. You'd come back and you create 2 A&R lots, right? 8
Right.
and 9, and that's how I would think you would approach it. But that's just a matter of semantics, it doesn't matter. We wanna finish the roadway.
At that point, I'm not sure that taking a subdivision, finishing the road, you'd have to get the road accepted by
You
the
can finish
city.
the road. That's why we're here, we wanna finish the road. That's why we're here, we're trying to finish the road. We're trying to finish, we're up there working every day, we wanna finish the road. That's why we gave you the modified plans, that's why we've done everything you asked us to do. We just wanna finish the road. That's all we're trying to
I'm
do.
just trying to do it right. So
No, I appreciate that, I do, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But we're here to finish the road, post your bond, give you whatever you need, get it done and move on. That's all we're trying to do. And if the zoning's an issue, we have an ample opportunity to correct it down the road. So there's no harm in going forward.
What road, Attorney Question, what options do I have?
So, with regard to extending the subdivision decision, that can, if the board, if that is, that is within the board's purview if you wanted to extend the actual subdivision. But those lots, the way that the subdivision is shown now with the lots, those lots cannot be built upon because they don't meet today's zoning. And so they would go to the building. I mean, there's a couple ways to do this. Mr. Chairman, I think that, your way is probably the easiest way, which is just come back with the new lot. Or they can go to the building department, they can get denied, they can appeal it to the zoning board, they can appeal it to court, or they can, again, just come back with 21 lots. But that is their choice. Again, it's also my opinion that the subdivision has expired. I know that, this board has extended other subdivisions, so, that would be up to, that's in your discretion, that wouldn't be up to me.
And we're not arguing that. We're not arguing that she's wrong. We're saying, we're asking you to go forward to finish the road, and then we'll handle the zoning at a future time.
I
That's where
just
we're at.
wanna do it right, so that we don't have somebody
And I
coming
appreciate
back at us.
I appreciate that, Joe. I think, I absolutely understand your point of view. You have a
Okay.
valid point.
And, we've talked about this, and I just said, hey, I don't want, we wanna do it, but I also gotta get, there's been such a delay on this, that it's gotta get done.
Until the soil goes in, John, I can't promise you it's gonna get done. The third party's gotta put the soil line in. Our hands are tied.
No,
And I
I
explained it to
thought,
the
I
last
thought you
board.
just said that the sewer line was in.
We have an active sewer line on the subdivision, but we can't bring the water until the sewer line is installed from the third party. Because the
Right.
sewer line is 11 feet deep in ledge, and I can't run a water line and then blast.
No, I realize that, I'm not worried
So
about
without water, I don't have hydrants, I don't have fire protection.
So what's your solution to getting your sewer line done then?
We're gonna complete the project, we're gonna complete all the water lines, all the drainage to our design point where that sewer line that the third party brings up will tie in. Now, you won't have active water until that sewer line is completed, but we're gonna complete all the work in some of the states. The connection point is not at some of the states. It's on
Yeah.
part of Crown Point, right? That
Well, where is
connector
the
road.
No, isn't that road that goes down to?
Remember the
Route
connector
12?
road?
Wasn't that-
I'll refresh your memory. When we did some of the states, that was first. And then
Right.
we submitted Crown Point. And the board, and we very intelligently said, look, we wanted access back to Central Street to get some of this traffic off the hill. So
Right.
we bought a piece of land on Carly and Giannino. We extended a road through some of the states to bring the Crown Point traffic back to Central Street.
Right,
As fate would have it, the infrastructure came through Central Street, through that connector road and into some of the states.
right.
So the connector road is where all this infrastructure is actually located, which is part of Crown Point. I can complete all of some of the states, but I can't make my connection point. Because the
Okay.
water line, where it connects, is on the road that accesses it.
So where do you stand with the other party on getting this water
We
line
have a
to you?
contempt of court order, and there was a hearing this week scheduled to be heard. I don't know if it got heard, because the lawyer that's handling it, I didn't speak to today. It's supposed to be heard this week, the contempt order, forcing him. Now, given the fact you're in the middle of winter, nobody's digging up.
Well, you're not gonna do it
You're not
now
gonna dig up
anyway.
the road in the middle of winter, we all know that.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
So you're looking at a spring project. It should be
Right.
about a 3-month project. That's what I'm told.
Yeah,
So hopefully, in 6 months to a year from today, that will be done. In the meantime, we can complete all our work. That's why we came before you to get the modification, because we want to just keep working.
well, you got the modification.
We did, and I thought we're okay, but now we're back here again, so I don't know if we're okay.
How come 2 months ago, this wasn't brought up when he came for the modification? Because everything's beyond the 8 years then.
But it was, if my memory serves,
It
right?
was,
The
but we-
disagreement was, the attorneys had not yet met, and they had a difference of opinion on it. It still sounds like the attorneys have not met, and they still have a difference of opinion on it. So to me, that's the next logical step, is they need to work it out and come up with an agreed-upon solution, because I don't know how we're supposed to decide between legitimate legal opinions.
Yeah, yeah.
And my only point to that is we can complete the project regardless. So what's in the road is not going to change. I'm not gonna rip up all the sewer and water lines in the road.
Yeah.
We just want to pave the road, get it done, be ready for the connection when it happens. Now, let's say the attorney's completely correct and it's not grandfathered, and she may very well be right. Then we have to slide the lot lines and from 23 go to 21. And honestly, that's not the end of the world, right? It's still a good viable project.
Sure.
But it doesn't stop us. Right now, we're stopped by the sewer line, and now on top of that, we're being stopped by litigation or legal opinions. So now we've got like a double win. We just want to work. That's all we want to
Yeah,
do.
what I would say is that what you're asking to vote on, which is to extend the subdivision approval, whether the city solicitor is right or whether I'm right, you've got the discretion to extend it. I would suggest that even if I'm wrong, there are certain compelling circumstances that exist in this case for the board to exercise its discretion to extend it. And as the city solicitor indicated, the board has extended subdivisions before. So it almost doesn't matter whether I'm right or I'm wrong, or she's right or she's wrong. You know, the discretion does lie with the
Yeah, and
board.
it does us, I also agree, it does us no good to deny it, because you end up with a piece of property that's all torn up and got pipes in it.
And more litigation.
More litigation. I'm just trying to do it right, so that, and I'm sort of in the point where I'm saying that, do we continue this, you know?
I'd rather get it resolved, John,
Or
because I have to know
say,
where to go with stuff.
either that, or say, give you an extension for a time definite.
We need 2 years.
2 years.
We need 2 years. We have to.
And
have
if
2 years.
it doesn't, then it's 2 years, that's it, final. Yeah, that's where,
I mean, then you still have the right to come back in
Yeah.
and reapply.
Not
gonna make it go away.
As a new, yeah.
No, but we're trying to get to a point where we can get off the hill, right? We want to get it done, we all want it done. So
Yeah.
I think 2 years is a very reasonable amount of time.
I don't
Now,
think
a
there's
very
any
smart
opposition.
lawyer once told me, if you want 2, you better ask for 3. Because nothing ever ends when it's supposed to.
Attorney
Never.
Questle?
Nothing's definite.
Yeah.
Can you weigh in, please?
On what they should do. So I mean, I agree with the chair that, you know, they have the ability to extend if they want to, and, but again, I just want to make clear that the zoning freeze is gone. So
Right.
they can extend the subdivision, but they're under today's zoning.
And they agree with that.
We're not disagreeing with that at this time. We're not.
Well, no, she's saying extend it at today's zoning. So when I extend it for 21 lots rather than 23.
Well, no, you would extend the subdivision, the zoning, I think
He's
you
gonna have to meet
you
the
can certainly
zoning.
put, you can certainly put a stipulation in
Well,
there.
you're gonna have to meet the zoning.
Yeah, you have to meet the zoning no matter what, that's the law.
He doesn't have to do that now. He
Yeah.
can extend it, and then when he comes back,
We're still gonna
Then
argue
he
our
has-
side of it.
then he has to-
Yeah, we're gonna argue our side of it politely and try to get to some solution. And if we get to a solution, great, if we don't, we don't, then we modify it.
Is there any reason we need to keep the hearing open? Because if not, we
It's
can.
not a
So
hearing,
it's
it's a
just like a
communication.
communication.
Any reason why we need?
Yeah, this is really not even a hearing, so that's,
well, we have to grant him something, so at some point.
well, we have to act on the letter, you know. That's all.
We have to vote on it.
But, you know, we opened it up as a hearing, but it's not advertised, it's really not, it's
So the-
a public.
I think,
Part of
John, I think I
public meeting.
requested that you extend it in a letter. I think that's how this
He
started.
did request
Yes.
that.
So I
Yeah.
think,
Is
I'm
a
asking
motion
you,
appropriate tonight?
We could?
Okay, I move to grant a 2-year extension to
I second
the Summit Estates.
I have a motion made.
You have to
and-
have 2 waivers first.
Okay, which are, read them off.
that.
I have it in here.
Two of the original waivers?
Waiver one, section pertaining to the requirements of all completion deadlines and section pertaining to requirement for a butter mailings.
Correct.
Okay, so that's the motion, using the same language in 6.2.
Second.
So extend it for 2 years from today.
Okay, so you got the 2 waivers.
But, I'm sorry, what were they, the 2 waivers?
Mailing to abutters
Oh.
and requirements on completion deadlines.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't make much.
With, our ordinance says you have 3 years, so one of the waivers is pertaining to the requirement of all completion deadlines. So that's from the 3 years. And then the other one is administrative, pertaining to a butter mailing.
So the first is, we have to act on that separately to waive the 3 years.
Or doesn't
You
the,
can pick
No,
it
we
in a
can
block
include,
if
we
you
can
want.
include it.
doesn't the extension effectively do that, because it's extending it by?
Well, we're extending it for 20 years now, so.
We're extending it from 2 years from today.
22.
That will sell.
Okay,
'02.
It's been a long time.
okay, the motion is, you have a motion to,
And second,
and seconded, to extend it with waivers,
with the two waivers.
right,
2 years.
for 2 years.
Do we need to
Okay.
stipulate anything about the zoning, or they're
not
gonna
our-
argue the zoning when the time comes
Not our
out?
purview.
No,
They're gonna have to meet the zoning.
they have to meet the zoning because,
Or whatever the
Or go
zoning
to
happens
zoning
to
board
be
of
when we
appeals.
come back.
And we have, like,
no, the
and
zoning,
witnesses.
The zoning is the zoning.
that's
You
the
have made
building
us- You have made
inspector.
us well aware of your position on the zoning, and we understand what we have for her. And if we can't clear it, then we know we have to modify.
And Attorney Questle was clear, the zoning would be today's zoning, unless they win an appeal,
Yeah,
which is beyond our
Not
purview.
afraid we have to fight.
I just want to make sure what the motion we're making is,
So you're making a motion for the waivers first. I don't know if you want a motion to
And-
go in a block.
and
or-
then a motion to extend. I'm just asking Amy if that's, Attorney Questle, if that's the appropriate motion.
Yeah, that order makes sense to me, yes, to do
okay.
it in that order, yeah.
Thank you.
And,
Yeah,
but not only procedurally, but substantively, that's the appropriate motion, to
Right.
extend the sub.
it has to be, yeah.
Well, you have to act on the waivers first.
Yeah,
And then-
in order to act on the ground.
You have the motion.
Okay, so I have a motion on the waivers first,
And seconded.
okay, and a second. Okay, on the 2 waivers, do I have any further discussion? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
And now the
A
motion
second
to
motion
grant it to your extension from today.
with
And
waivers
I seconded it.
for 2 years. Okay? Any further discussion? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Get her done.
Get her
So
done.
it's 2 years from today,
Today.
December 16th, 2024, so it'll be December 16th, 2026.
I hope I'm still here.
I hope I am, we should be in Florida, what are you doing here? We're supposed to be
2
out
weeks.
south.
So Attorney Questle, you'll help
Where's your
me
place, son?
with
I'm Sarasota.
notice,
Depends how you define
adding in
it.
a
Yeah.
piece
I'm on
about the zoning,
Siesta
I'm
Key.
gonna need some assistance.
On which one?
Siesta Key.
Yes, thank you.
Siesta
Still on
Key.
I'm not far from you.
Thank you.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not far from you.
I go down there all the time.
Thank you for your time and your help, I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Just a little bit.
Okay, now we'll go back to, I need a motion to go back to our
So moved.
hearing, 6:30 hearing.
Second, Pat's made the motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
You want to open the 6:30?
Mr. Hannigan,
How are you?
see you enjoyed that, didn't you?
I did, it was very educational. So,
For the record,
for the record, Bill Hannigan with Hannigan Engineering. The last time we were in front of you, this was the plan, which had some work along the riverfront area consisting of a paved driveway going into a gravel recharge trench in that area. When we went to conservation, what we ended up with was putting a berm there, a curb in that location, adding a catch basin going into a underground storage area for some recharge back into the ground with an overflow onto the existing riprap pad. So that's essentially the only thing that's changed on the site plan since the last time we were here. Okay, and they've approved that, we're now
Okay,
waiting
and
for
I guess
their.
there's been some discussion on that right turn only coming out.
Yeah,
onto-
we've added a sign of right turn only at this location here. I know that from the police department is asking about that, doing that as an entrance only. And what I took a look at today was some of the latest and greatest Google images. And so-
We love to Google.
Yeah. And if you look at when you get these, if you look at the Although we could probably just bring it up there.
This is us right here.
Yeah, you got. oh,
I
you
wasn't
want-
told to bring my computer, I will next time though.
I didn't bring my cheaters either. This is a.
Neither did I.
I got mine.
I know.
I got my,
But I can read it.
I'll squint.
Yeah. So, if you look just south of River Street, you'll notice that the latest renovations to Route 13 have that as 2 lanes heading south. So coming out of the property, if that was 1 lane heading south, I think it would have more of an issue, but with the 2 lanes there's plenty of queuing time. It happens to catch the traffic when it's stopped at the light. So the light at River Street is holding the traffic heading southbound, so there's gonna be ample gaps in the traffic to leave a right turn only, to allow a right turn only exit. I agree with not trying to allow the left turn out of there. I think that was discussed at the
Yeah,
the
left
first
turn.
meeting, so that I agree with. But we really would like to maintain that as an entrance, and then a right turn only exit out of that spot. And mainly because of the improvements that have been made in that location. I think that the you know, it was just a stroke of luck to have them take the Google picture right at this moment when traffic was stopped at the light at River Street.
Mhm.
But it leaves,
You didn't plan it that way?
I called them up and I said, hello, Mr. Google, can you give me a different picture? So that was the only thing that I think that was out there, and I think that the right turn only lane, I know he did talk about the amount of traffic, how much traffic would be generated from the overall site, and I think that when Chris did the original submittal, he talked about the use would be an office use in that building, and the scale of the ITE manuals, if you look at the original submittal, the formula is basically geared to somewhere around 100 to 125,000 square foot office building. So the formula is out of whack, which is why in the narrative, he pulled that back down to what would be more realistic in this case, and that was reviewed as part of the original discussion. But I know the
Isn't there more traffic coming out of the existing building now?
There are more. Well, there's whatever traffic's coming out of there right now
Used car lot.
is coming out and being able to take a left and a right out of that turn.
They're still gonna go left.
So, right, but if we sign it, then they can get
Yeah.
pulled over if they come out left.
Yeah, just like we had no left
Wasn't this gonna be a
turn.
restaurant originally or something?
God,
Was that?
it's been so many things over time.
So many, over the years, it's
Trying
been,
this, trying
I don't remember a restaurant in there. I remember mostly garages, used cars.
Yeah,
I thought somebody was gonna put a restaurant a long time ago. But I
So
thought-
Bill, if you're heading north, they're allowed to take a left-hand turn
into it,
across the double lane,
correct,
which they're doing now.
correct,
I've never seen a problem there, and I'm on that road all the time.
same. Yeah, I think that there's a thing that I'm learning as I'm learning more about traffic studies, the thing referred to as courtesy gaps. And the lights signal stopping the flow of traffic provides those courtesy gaps that allow people to take those left-hand turns.
Sometimes it doesn't when it's backed up.
Right, if it blocks it, yeah.
Block, yeah.
That's where the don't block the box
Yeah.
paintings on the ground are helpful. And you have those, I think, up at the fire station, actually.
So,
Okay,
So the police department disagrees with you.
Right. Which is not unusual.
Do we have the authority to override the police department?
well, usually on our conditions on approval, we say, you know, to accept the
Subject to department head.
department.
well, when we agree with them.
When we,
We don't always.
So I'm just trying to think this through. So you're adding a right turn only,
Right now, it's both enter and exit out of that driveway onto Main Street. We're restricting it and adding a restriction to right turn only on the exit side. As you
Keeping-
exit
Trying to get in
streets-
it. You're not gonna have to
Either
go
way.
up or
okay,
down
wait,
River Street, right?
on the,
Yeah, you have to go up to River Street and come down through the light.
Right.
If you wanna go.
That'd be very cumbersome.
so, I'm in your parking lot.
Yep.
And for me to exit, I can exit from Main Street, but I can only take a right turn.
Correct.
And I can also exit From River Street.
and then you can go up and take a left-hand turn heading north at the light.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're gonna be able to turn right into it coming down,
Okay.
right?
And the police are recommending that
Be an entrance only
from Main Street.
from Main Street.
Oh, they want you on River Street.
But then to get in there,
They want all traffic coming.
Well, once you're in there, you
Route
can go
13
out.
and Exiting out to River
They
Street.
only want people going in and exiting it through River and going either left or right.
Yeah, you're going.
Which is it, what,
I
if somebody
can't
wants
see-
to take a left, they might do that anyway.
right,
The easiest way.
I just can't see anybody going from your building. Excuse me.
They're gonna come out there.
Yeah, from the
They
back
can't
building.
Yeah, they're gonna go to River Street anyway.
I would think so.
except for maybe people coming out of that garage bay, they might come out and go right versus driving all the way back around.
Yeah, but that's not referent, out of the garage bay, but that's not,
That's
not the
existing.
that's not the consequence of your building.
Well, no, it's all one,
They
it's
were
all
taking
one
a right
lot.
out of there, you're
Yeah.
only gonna take a right when there's gaps, so what's?
Yeah.
I don't see what the big.
I leave it to the board.
I don't see why the police are so against being able to take a right there. I think they'd be against being able to take a left.
Left, sure. This
Yeah,
board was
definitely
against,
left.
this
Taking a
board was
right,
against
you-
that.
You pull, I mean, every car that comes out of the car wash really can only go right, people go left,
Right.
but they go right.
And-
I would see
And
that,
there's a light at River Street,
And
correct?
that's more cars though.
yeah.
That
That's-
gives
Oh,
you
by
enough of a
far.
pause.
That's
to-
150 cars a day, car wash. They come out and they take a right on the same road. Why does the
Yeah.
police department have a problem with him?
Same with,
Well, in a
same
worse
with gas,
location.
same with the gas station,
Yeah, I
same with the
mean,
future car wash.
I think it's a silly argument, I don't know. I don't wanna disagree with the cops, but.
I was under the impression they didn't want people pulling into that. Never, I didn't realize that they were fine with the entering.
They
on
enter,
Main
they want to
Street.
be enter only, and they were against the right turn only out.
I don't even see how it impacts
Yeah.
it at
Did
all,
the fire
honestly.
department have an issue with it?
No.
They got back to us today and said that they agreed with the police department comments, that's all they said.
They agree with the police?
Does your plan intend to have traffic flow one way around that building? From Route 13 toward the office building? And from the office building out to River Street? Or does your plan allow for two-way traffic on that
This,
little
this,
driveway?
the little driveway on the left side here,
Is that
That's
even wide
one
enough
way.
for two lanes? That is
that's one way,
In.
one way coming this way.
So traffic is
So
coming
you're not
from
gonna have
the
any traffic
office
going out
out
there
to Route
anyway.
13.
Most
From the
traffic is
new
probably,
building.
most traffic is gonna still go this way, but I think that these tenants
Yeah.
would be using this to turn right.
And I really don't see the reason why you.
So it's,
And that's existing,
that's existing.
so we're not gonna affect existing changes, okay? An existing change on something like that has to be an ordinance by the city council.
Well, I understand, well, we did make a change. We actually made it so you can't take, you're not supposed to take a left.
Right,
Okay, so by,
You put up a sign.
yeah, by putting up a sign saying right turn only, that is intended to direct the traffic this way, and then the people coming down the road that would come in will come in and have to go this way or this way.
I think that improves the situation that we have today.
Yes.
And
I
I
don't
think,
have a problem
even if
with
they were out and took a left, they're not breaking the law. You're putting a private sign on your property that says no left turn. A cop can't say, hey, you're
That doesn't
breaking
make
the
any
law.
traffic like it.
No, they
Still
would have
gonna
to,
be harder to take a left out of that.
It's gonna be
spot
hard,
than
it
it
won't-
is
it's
to have
not
the lights
easy.
right next to it.
Yeah,
Right.
so what happens with stuff like this, to Patrick's point, what happens is people that come here regularly, they're gonna end up going this way anyways, because they know it's gonna be easier for them to come up here and wait for the light.
oh
and
yeah.
take a left.
I've been in there, done business in there over the years, and I always went down on River Street and come out to the lakes. It just doesn't make, it doesn't make sense to come out on Main Street.
Unless you're going right.
Yeah, going right, it's not, it wouldn't be difficult. Okay,
Right turn.
Can I
only.
see the differences in the two plans again?
Oh. This is a stone apron, so the water was flowing over. And now what they've asked us to do is capture some of it and put it underground into some chamber systems to allow it to infiltrate into the ground.
Okay, and where's where's the curbing now?
Curbing
Yeah.
right along the edge.
Oh, okay,
So there's a bituminous berm here instead of just flush curbing with
Okay.
stone. Okay, and then we added the sign.
So they wanna mitigate it before it goes into the,
I'm sorry?
they wanna mitigate it before it flows to the river.
It was more about providing recharge for stormwater management standards than it was about riverfront. This area was all previously disturbed at riverfront, so that wasn't really the matter. The issue was more about providing,
Recharge.
well, stormwater management to the best extent practicable, you know. And I believe that this new design complies with that, and that's what the commission voted on.
Okay. Okay, very good.
Now, there were some waivers that were asked for
There
as
are
part of,
three.
yeah, as part of the original,
I have them all.
okay?
There's section 22-62.3.1 from
Can I just
landscape.
ask one more thing about that police thing with the waivers?
Sure.
Because I'm just reading it again. So there's nothing in the police comments about this being a right turn only. So were they aware that that's,
Yes,
and,
they are aware of it. It says, I noticed they added a right turn only sign to the southern driveway exiting directly onto Main Street. It's their email from December 9th.
so I'm on there.
Yeah, that's on the recent letter.
Okay. On to the waivers, I apologize.
Okay, 2262.3.1 with the, regarding the landscape architect. 2258.6 regarding the lighting, the 1-foot candle illuminance. And section 22,
What is the waiver on that? On the,
waiver is requested from providing 1.0 foot candle luminance on site as property is already within a heavily developed and illuminated area.
what is it, what are you providing?
We're not providing any additional lighting. So
Okay.
the existing lighting that's here, which around the site with the existing lighting along the street.
So that's more than one.
Right, it's more than one already, so we can't comply, so we're asking for a waiver for that.
Okay.
And then 2262, waivers requested from providing additional outdoor lighting on property as the site is already within a heavily developed illuminated area, as you just said.
Same reason.
Okay. So I'll need a motion on the waivers.
Well, I think we have to close the hearing.
Well, yeah, you're right.
So,
Now I'm reading the December 9th one, so.
Yeah,
The police question is, what is the total anticipated traffic in and out of the property to include both new and existing buildings? And we still have an answer for that.
I believe we did. I believe that was answered as part of the original letter.
He said, I've looked through the provided plan, noticed there was no new traffic study information. This is the same question as before. What is the total anticipated traffic in and out? Because he's saying even with the right turn only, depending on the volume, it still creates an unnecessary risk. And I don't want to minimize that concern. I understand your logic too, but I don't want to minimize what he's saying.
I remember there was a conversation about, with the intent of the building, there was only gonna be a handful of parking spaces. How many spaces are there with the new building?
No, I think
Three or
there were
four?
10.
10
There were
new
10
spaces?
total. Existing structure, business professional office, one space for 400 square feet. Total parking, 3.6, parking is 4, motor service bay, so he's wrapping in all the parking that's required for the entire
The whole
use.
entire.
The entire use is 10 spaces required and 11 provided.
For the entire, for both buildings?
Both
Yes.
buildings combined uses, okay? So,
Again, they're putting a car wash up right now, they'll have 150 cars coming out going left and right. The car wash up the street, hopefully will create business.
so
He's got cars coming in.
I
Right.
think,
They're not gonna create anything.
Compared to that.
The gas station down.
And, yeah.
well, but the question Paul's asking, or the chief is asking, is, we're saying in here that we're estimating this new use is gonna create between 9 and 12 additional trips per day, okay? And so that would be on top of presumably the 10 to 12 trips per day that the existing use is having. So you're in the 20 to 25 cars a day is what you're looking at in and out of
Yeah.
the site.
I don't think it's.
I think that's compared to the 29,000 that go by there.
And the only difference between the car
It's around
wash.
29,000.
29,000?
Yeah, we had done the steady one back time, it was in that range.
Probably more now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And so from his
That was
perspective,
about 8 or 9 years ago, 10 years ago.
Probably 30
the
thousand.
difference between the car wash and the other things on this one is that you have a signal
Right, 35.
intersection right there.
Right.
So is there a need to have the turn onto Main
I
Street?
mean,
where we have
the sign, no left turn is a good idea. You wanna stop as much of it as you can, you won't stop it all.
So
I
would you-
could come out of the other car wash, but I go left. You know. I don't think it says right up the turn.
Yes, it does.
Well, they.
I
see,
never saw it.
It's interesting because.
You were here when we put it in.
Yeah.
You a scofflaw.
You voted
I don't
for
go
it.
that car wash anymore.
I'm fine.
It's fine.
What do we need?
Yeah, let's,
So the 3 waivers,
Well, we gotta close
We
the
have to,
hearing.
so I make a motion to close the 6:30, open
Public.
public meeting,
For a second.
for site, yes, for the site plan.
Do we need to
Second.
open to the empty room first or no?
For the cameras, there's
They
no.
got the
camera.
camera.
There's no-
There's no audience in the audience.
Okay, I have a motion made and second to close the open public meeting for a site plan application. Okay, any further discussion? Here or none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We'll close at 6:31 to continue the open public hearing for special permit flood plan application for 509 Main Street, Street
508 Main.
232, parcel 9, commercial office building. Okay, do I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We've done the call to order minutes of previous meetings. We don't have any. Plan submitted, we have none. Old business, 4.1, site plan application for 509 Main Street, map 232, parcel 9, commercial office building.
Now we gotta do it.
Okay, we're first gonna have any waivers, a vote on the waivers.
Do you wanna take them in a block?
Yes,
Yes.
so moved, to take them in block.
Second.
Always.
Well, you gotta read, okay.
We have-
You got 2 waivers,
3.
3 waivers. Do we have any additional? Oh,
Did we
okay,
finish
no,
the
we
vote?
just
Take them in a
waivers.
block?
Oh, waivers,
Yes.
just okay.
Oh, no.
We got 3 waivers. Any further discussion on the waivers? Okay, here and then I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Do we have any conditions? No, typically, yeah, well, typically, we usually say, condition is that you go by all your department head requests, but at this point, we've gone against the police department. So we'll have to,
You just say that you want the planning and development director to inspect the
You
site.
just tell
prior
the
to
police
see
department it was John.
yeah.
You have to put that in the form of a motion.
Form of a motion.
So we
Call
want
him
that,
tomorrow.
to have the planning director inspect the site prior to issuance of the, whatever the next step is.
Okay. That motion, have a second to that?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
And no other conditions.
No other conditions, okay? The,
You might want to appease the police department, you might want to just, even though it's shown in the plan, to add the
Oh,
condition
I'll add the
that
right-
that a right turn only sign
Right
be,
turn, well,
that way it's in
I will move
writing.
it is on the plan,
I'll
okay?
second that. Movement.
Motion made and seconded to add the right turn only sign. Yeah, I don't think you need the one to no left turn.
One or the other, John.
Yeah, one or the other.
Talking about both.
Yeah, but we'll give you one.
This thing.
Right turn only.
Right turn only, no right turn.
Okay.
Dumpster should be on the
So a motion is made and seconded on the right turn only sign. Any further discussion? Here none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
You're done.
And,
Special permit footprint.
Do we have other?
no, yeah,
You have to
they'll
approve-
get
you
to
have to
the
approve site
special
plan first.
permit.
You have to approve the site plan first.
I thought they just did.
No, that was
That was the condition,
Oh,
that was the
condition.
condition for the.
Oh, okay.
There were the conditions and the waivers and the conditions. Now, on the site plan, the site plan, on the waivers, with the plan with waivers and
So
conditions.
there's one other department head comment, we may as well just read it in, which was to put the dumpster on a concrete pad behind fencing.
I believe our element plan sheets.
Health Department said demo of existing building requires demo permit from Health Department and Building Department. Dumpster shall be on a concrete pad and fenced in.
And we should include those.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably standard anyway, but.
Right. I think the detail for the dumpster is a concrete pad anyways, but.
When
but-
she does her review, she'll check that.
Yeah,
when-
yeah.
Yeah,
She
that,
needs that
that.
copy.
Doesn't hurt, doesn't
Review
hurt,
it.
doesn't hurt to put that in the condition.
Yeah, okay. So are we all set in that case?
We should add those two
Well,
conditions.
okay, add those conditions,
The Health Department.
from the health
and,
department conditions. All in favor of adding the health department
And
conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Okay, the site plan with conditions. Excuse me.
And waivers.
Yeah, it was coughing, and waivers. Okay, any further discussion? Here none, I'll call for the vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Special permit,
Did
floodplain.
anybody make a motion on that?
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Yep.
Keep up.
Call and pack.
Special permit floodplain application for 509 Main Street.
508 Main Street.
This is on the
I
floodplain.
know too.
And they made
Still
the
508.
changes, and they agree with the Conservation Commission, so that's been taken care of.
Okay.
Any further discussion on that? Okay, a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Do you want to put the waivers in?
Second.
Do we have a waiver on that?
Sometimes you put the same waivers for site plan as for special permit, just as a,
No, I don't think so.
you don't want to do that, okay.
I have a motion made and seconded for the special permit floodplain. Any further discussion? Here none, I'll call for, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no, motion carries. New business none. Communications.
Yeah.
See you,
Merry
Doris.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Kwanzaa.
It's gonna be Hanukkah.
Okay, guess we can say it, sure.
Okay, communications. City Council petition 15-25, Elizabeth Wood. On behalf of the planning board, request to amend the zoning ordinance pertaining to MU2 zoning. The board to make a recommendation to the city council.
I make a,
The hearing was closed.
yeah, so I make a recommendation, I make a motion to recommend approval to the city council.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to recommend approval on city council petition 15-25. Any further discussion on that? I don't believe there is. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no, motion carries. We've covered some of the states. City council petition
23.
23-25. Union Square Realty Trust, James Xeris trustee, 507 Lancaster Street, Leominster, Mass. Request that the city council amend the current zoning 493, 497, 501, and 507 Lancaster Street from MU1 to Business B. Plan with the schedule. So we got a scheduled hearing for
Yeah,
this.
you would do it for January 6th?
At 6:30?
6:35.
6:35.
Hold on.
January what?
January 6th.
We have something at 6:30.
6:35.
Second.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Don't storm the Capitol.
We just have to advertise this week. We have to advertise this week first.
Is there time to do it? Or you want-
Yeah, as long as we do it before Thursday this week.
Okay,
Don't be mad.
We only have one meeting.
we're all set on our schedule for the 6th at 6:35.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I have a motion made, and do I have a second?
You did, yeah.
And seconded to schedule this petition for January 6th at 6:35. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Director's report.
Okay, as you are all aware, you were all great to attend the meeting on December 9th with City Council, the joint meeting. Mayor has now tasked me with filling out a 22-page compliance report for MBTA communities, so that's something I'm working on. I have to collaborate with the clerk's office and MRPC, and I've just about had that wrapped up. I'm waiting on the clerk's letter, and I'll have that in. And then if you haven't-
City council passed it?
You were there?
No. not
Oh, yeah,
the
they
vote.
there. They passed it, 9-0. There's a card for Sal, if you haven't signed it already,
It's right here.
please sign it. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Sal's not here, how are we gonna get out of here?
Yeah, how big that?
Yeah.
Motion adjourned.
He's the vice chair of.
I'm the vice chair of the adjournment.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
I hope so.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Christmas.
Merry
Thank you,
Christmas.
everybody, for
Good night.